Hey guys, Jeroen here. In this video I want to talk about how I've made my studio furniture. So I'm talking about this desk here, which is where I have my computer and all the things that I use when I make music. I've made it completely myself, reusing furniture that I already had. I was almost going to throw it away, but then luckily I kept it long enough until I realized, hey, I'm going to make my studio furniture out of it. That has a few advantages if you build your own studio. First of all, you can decide for yourself which things are important for you, where you want to put which equipment. Like here I have my amplifier and my CD player and whatever. So if you measure correctly and have a good plan in your head, then you can really make the desk according to your needs. By recycling furniture, or by using furniture that you have or that you can buy really cheap on a second-hand website or whatever, it's also going to cost you very little. In my case it cost me in a way nothing, because I would have thrown out my desk. So yeah, how to build your own studio furniture on a low budget and make it really practical. That's what this video is about. I'm going to grab the camera and I'm going to film those little parts that I think are important to think about, those things that I think are handy to have, and I'll explain while I'm filming those things. Okay, let's first take a look at what I've used to build this. So what I have used is, first of all, my old dining room table, believe it or not. And what you see here at the top, so these two levels, is my old coffee table. So what I've actually done is quite simple. I cut my coffee table in half, and I used that to build these two levels, and the dining room table actually stayed unchanged. I was lucky, and that's also actually what gave me the idea, the fact that my dining room table and my coffee table are, as you can see, the same color. It was a matching set, so that was something that I personally kind of like. If we take a look a little bit back, my keyboard fits nicely underneath the table. That's of course because I can change the stand which it is on. I can change the height a little bit, so that was not so difficult. But the nice part is that when I sit on my chair and I put my legs underneath the keyboard, it's very comfortable. It fits perfectly, so the table is quite high, I guess, since I'm not a very small person. So yeah, that worked out really fine. I see some people who put their keyboard on top of the desk, but in my case I have my my mixer and my keyboard, so I like to keep those there. So my keyboard for playing, I prefer to have it under the table. I can just slide it under the table when I don't need it and pull it back towards me when I do need it. When you're going to build this, especially if you're thinking about making levels like I did, you need to plan up front what you're going to put there. So in my case, what I've put is my old amplifier. This must be, I was 12 when I bought it, so this is from the 87, 88, and my old CD player. So I already knew I was going to put them on my desk and I would need a level on top of that. So of course I measured the height of my amplifier, and then I added a little bit of height, which came in very handy because, as you can see, I have some lights which are burning. That was a detail I added later. I think lights make a very nice difference. And let me try to film the lights that I have used. They are from IKEA. So it's these little bars that I've attached there, and the switch. Can I film this? Yeah. So the switch I have actually put behind my the stand or the foot of my screen. Excuse me. So yeah, that light makes a very nice detail. Of course, in this case, for filming, the room is very lit, but normally I work in a bit darker circumstances, and then it's nice to have that light. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, of course. So what I've used is, so this is the table as it was, my dining room table, with this board on the side, and these are the legs. And of course my coffee table had the same legs. So once I knew how high I wanted my levels to be, I cut the legs at that height, and I put them there. The only little detail that you see is this screw here. So here it's screwed from underneath the table in here. And then here I screwed it at the top, and of course here there's also a screw which you don't see, and the one here at the top you also don't see because my my monitor is on it. So yeah, just that's actually the only little thing that you can see, but then, you know, I cover it up by putting some remote control there or whatever. So yeah, height, I got lucky. The height of your legs, you have to measure up front. You have to know and decide up front what you're going to put where. And yeah, of course, in my case, to be able to fit the screen, I had to cut out part of the top level, which was a bit of a pity, but I think in the future I'm going to remove that top level. The only thing, excuse me, that I'm actually using it for now is, you know, for those lights which are attached at the top of it. I also have one little bar of lights here just above my sound card. My god, just above my sound card. So I just got lucky there as well, because as you can see, I've just got like a few millimeters left, but that worked out fine as well. Alright, in the meantime, I've removed my keyboard. First thing I want to show you is here. It's a stupid little detail, but so handy. So this is where we are. This is my desk, and here, since I had that panel, let's say, between the legs of the table, I decided to install two hooks for my headphones. Very practical, because like this, you don't see the headphones, they're not in my way, they don't bother me, but if I need them, I don't even have to roll my chair over. They are just there to take them, so very easy. And then, the most important thing probably, let me sit on my chair here. Look at how many cables you see. How many do we see? One or two. I remember in the good old days in my old apartment, I had so many cables and I was switching all the time. And of course, if you count the amount of equipment that I have here, plus my speakers and so on, you can imagine how many cables are hidden there somewhere behind. Again, something where I got lucky. And let me bring up a bit of light. If you look underneath my table, there is this board there as well. Just like I have this panel or this board in between the legs, I have this board there as well. Not very functional, except maybe for keeping the table together, but that also came in handy, because that is actually what is hiding my cables. I tell you, if I ever change, or if I would ever make a new desk, I would also make something like that, because well, let's go take a look at what's behind there. So I've put up a little light, and let's look at the horror underneath here. Take a look at that. That's a lot of cables. And a friend of mine saw this once and he was like, oh my god, you're going to get in trouble with electricity. So far nothing exploded yet, nothing happened yet, so this is the mess I have nicely hidden behind this board. So what you see here is this is the back of my computer screen, and this here is the light switch for those lights that I have. So it's either you turn it on or off, or you can click here to change the colors, or you can change them manually here. So that's the switch, and then here is one of the four. So they come in a pack of four of these. So these are the light bars, let's say. And I bought them at IKEA. It's about, so for four of those, I think it's about 25 bucks. So this is the front of my desk now that I have emptied it. Looks a whole lot different, doesn't it? So yeah, let's take just a closer look. So here are the screws that I have that are now visible. So normally my speaker was covering it up there, and if we look here underneath, you see that little lamp, the IKEA lamp, or at least one of them. So there's one here, and then on the other level there's one, and there a second one, and then that loose one there, I usually put it on top where my screen is. And yeah, what else is there to say? Here's the other side. So as you can see here, I've sewn it, well, of course here I've sewn the table in two. But actually the back part, apparently, I didn't remember that, I've also sewn it off. It was a bit, there was a bit of a curve in there. So now they are nice equal. So here, as you can see, I have these holes all at just above each other, of course, which makes sense. These cables are the ones for those little lights. All the other cables I've removed, and yeah, this is what I've put at the bottom. As you can see, I've placed my amplifier here, and that has reason. So I've made these holes in the back for all the cables, right? So at the top there's just going to be a few cables coming through. On the second level I have, of course, the same type of hole for a bit more cables, because here I got some speaker cables that will go through here, and some other things. And of course you can imagine that in the table itself at the bottom level there's also a hole, and that's where most of the cables are going to go through. Now what I've decided, and let me go to the back here. So here not too many cables, one hole is enough, here the same. But here I'm going to have lots and lots of cables. These are just the ones for the lights, and I'm going to have all the power cables and audio cables and so on all through here. That's a bit too much, so I decided to make a second hole next to it, and that's the reason why I placed my my amplifier here, just to see where it would be best. So this is the position how it's going to be, and of course, yeah, the best place is as close as possible to the next, to this hole here, because yeah, if I would make the hole here, in a way that would be possible, of course, but just this thing here is going to, you know, it has, I can just put my finger underneath, so not too many cables can go through, wouldn't be able to go through here, because, you know, this would just block it eventually. So I'm going to make a hole right there, and of course I'm going to do that with a drill like this. I don't know if you've ever seen it, so this is just a normal power drill, but with this on top of it I can make a hole like that. Do I need to say more? I've nicely organized my cables, I think, yeah. So let's, well, this is, let's say, step one of creating order in chaos of cables, and now let's create a bit of chaos again, putting them all in the right position. So I've made the extra hole in the back. There it is, that one there, next to the one that already existed. So that should give me some room to put everything. Okay, so here is the final result. In the end, not much has changed. I would just like to quickly go over the important things. So yeah, this video has been about making your own studio furniture, your own studio desk, using second-hand furniture. If you have it lying around, great. If not, and you're going to buy something, you know, try some second-hand shop if you have that, or you know, try to find something second-hand, like a table. So in my case, a dining room table and a coffee table, which I've combined. When you buy that, pay attention to the height. So check if you put your, if you're, you know, with your legs underneath it, if there is space for a keyboard above your knees. Comes in handy, unless of course you want to put your keyboard on top of the table. So that's really important, and think up front before you cut the legs. You know, think about what you want to put where, so that you can measure what the height is going to be before you cut the legs off. And then for the rest, yeah, so I turn on this little light here to show you that I have these little hooks. They're from IKEA. Let me just take my headphones off. So these little IKEA thingies here, so you can actually fold them like that, and then open it up again. That was a handy thing, because otherwise, you know, the headphones are just lying in your way maybe, and like this it's a nice way to hide them. For the rest, as you can see over there, no visible cables. I was lucky, of course, to have that board there, so they're all nicely hidden. So no visible cables there. This is about as much cable as you're going to see around here. For the rest, almost nothing, even in the back. Just a few USB cables there, but yeah, nothing visible. I'm really happy with that, and that's where I ended up putting my subwoofer with my old 5.1 home cinema. And this is a very handy thing if you want to avoid switching cables all the time. Well, in my case it works. This is my studio monitor, my monitor, how do you call that thing, to switch between my monitors and my my where are they? My big speakers there, and even my subwoofer. And yeah, what makes it also nice, as you can see, I've got pretty dark. My new carpet is pretty dark. My wall there is pretty dark. In my case, I don't mind. It makes it all a bit warmer, and I like the artificial light. So put some lamps up here and there, and yeah, as you can see, of course, my ambient light. So I've got the ones behind my screen on, and then the ones there below. Yeah, that makes a nice atmosphere. I like to work in a nice atmosphere. So yeah, that's it. That's the final result. I hope you like it, and I hope I've given you good ideas and good inspiration. So good luck, and feel free to leave a comment below. Maybe even post a picture of what you've done. I always like to see this kind of things. Good luck.